This is the Fierce Heart Alliance, featuring the Harmonic Virtues, a self-reflective practice to understand virtues based on the laws of the universe, ancient teachings, and channeled wisdom. We can apply these virtues to everyday life to fully participate in our personal evolution by cultivating resiliency, purpose, and harmony through self-awareness and self-stewardship. Hi, I'm Summer Sophia Moon, and I've come here to heal myself and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. So join me and my special guests as we share and learn how to love ourselves fiercely through self-care, explore the wisdom of the harmonic virtues, and grow our conscious community together. By listening, you are now a fierce heart too. Welcome to the Fierce Heart Alliance. Before we begin today's topic, I'd like to say thank you to our listeners. You're always welcome here. Thank you to our ancestors, spirit guides, and friends who are assisting us today. May these words be a force for good and timelessly infused with light and held in the frequency of rose quartz and spread healing and peace around the world. May it connect to both our consciousness and unconsciousness for the highest and most benevolent outcomes for all. If there's any words left unsaid, we trust in spirit to make things right and let it gently ease into our consciousness as necessary for understanding in our own time, in our own way. And so it is. Thank you. Hey Fierce Hearts, today is our interview episode for The Virtue of Karma, and my guest today is Brandy Roberts. She's a Reiki master who's done immense research around our physiology and the meridian system, especially as it relates to trauma distortion and other energetic mishaps that occur in life. She also guides and helps people develop their spiritual gifts and talents. Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You know, we've all heard that the slang karma is a bitch. And, you know, it's from what I understand, we typically mean that for someone's rude or something like that, that they're eventually going to meet their justice of some kind. But what is your opinion of karma? And we're just going to be speaking about the cause and effect more so than the reincarnation sort of aspect. So what does karma mean to you?
To me, if you have an experience that you're going to perceive as karma, it means that you're carrying an energetic vibration within you that is asking for light to shine on that subconscious aspect of yourself. So if you get frustrated in conversation with someone, what I do is I take it back and say, okay, why did I get frustrated? There's a piece of me that reacted to this, right? The Buddha says the middle way is the way to go. Don't react to anything left, right, or whatever. Walk your middle path, which to me is like, oh, okay, I see where you are on your journey. You decided to make a comment that ruffled my feathers. Those feathers ruffled were mine. So I'm going to own it. I'm going to take it back. I'm going to review it and find out why the distortion occurred within myself that I had to have a reaction. And to me, that is sort of what karma looks like. Situations present so that you can take a look at what is hiding within your own psyche.
That's one of the rules that we have in one of my women's circles that I'm a part of. And we have these ground rules in order to create this healthy container. And one of the rules is if someone says something that triggers you, it's a chance for you to look at that trigger. It's not necessarily about the person itself, but it's a moment for, like you said, to reflect into yourself. That's awesome. That's wonderful.
Right. And you can almost look at those people as a gift.
Yes. A teacher.
Right. Yeah.
And so, when we're talking about karma, and like I said, we're not going to dive into the whole past lives or reincarnation, but, do you have an opinion about, when people say I have a past life or they're doing past life work? I was just thinking about it and realizing that you never hear people say, oh, my future life. And why do you think people only have like a past life experience and they don't have that quote unquote future life or anything like that? Like, what's your take on that?
That's a really great perspective for a question, actually. I appreciate that. And, it's a real fear factor. It's really difficult for people to want to accept their now and self-project it forward to some sort of a vision board or to some sort of higher level potential. People have experiences where they do see their future all the time. And for me, I really only see it like this life. I don't necessarily leap to the next life, but to reinvent themselves in today and give that vision of the now to the future it is sort of where you can instantly change it to positivity by letting things go and creating that vision for the future. As it relates to karma, it would be, I guess, what you'd let go of today. It would kind of clean that plate off for tomorrow, which really is designing your future self now. As far as future life, that's a direction I really don't leap to. For me, it's more this life and this instance and this particular path of what you want to reinvent for yourself and clear up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have my own take on past lives, and I don't really know what the answer is either. But one thing that in, I've, I don't want to say reduced to, but the conclusion I've come to is regardless of what the answer actually is, regardless of what life it is, where we go or what have you, the power that we have in this life is love. And so maybe there is something that we can't quite explain that happened in the past. My power is love, and I can show compassion, and I can forgive those things, and they're out of my control. It's almost like surrendering to the things you cannot control. I can't control what happened in a past life. That's not what I'm doing right now. That's not my mission right now. My mission is this life, and I can forgive and I can love. And I feel like that empowers us instead of getting into the victim mentality of, oh, I was this or that. I feel like that could be a very slippery slope. And, some people have to go through that. But I think some people can also get mired in that, and that stifles flow, that stifles growth, and development in this life. So it's a very subjective path, I think.
I actually agree with you on that. Reminding people not to continue to tell their story over and over again and hold that energetic vibration to their body is basically what I heard you just say. And I that's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so when we're talking about this aspect of karma, we're talking about the cause and effect. And so what does the principle of cause and effect mean to you?
That's an interesting question. And it's so funny that you asked me that because I've just recently been really in touch with my inner youth child self and my inner voice from childhood. And it's like, when you're growing and you're different, right? We're all different. We start building these little, I don't know what you call them, roadblocks, I guess. And they kind of become stickers, or like if, you plant your foot in the ground. No, I'm not doing that. When I grow up, I'm not doing that. Rewinding those is beneficial because those little flags were done out of youth angst. And they build us up to adult angst and adult, some sort of an energetic entitlement of what we will and won't do. Letting those go and reconciling those to your wisdom as you grow, and letting go those baby flags you planted as no, I will not do that, is really in such a great service to yourself, to let the cause and the effect go, because likely you're your own cause when you decided to be so angry and bitter or frustrated at the trauma that you experienced or perceived to experience in some cases, however it lands in your particular life. But the effect is what you can change. That's what you have control of now.
Yeah. The cause was the past, the effect is now, and you might have hints and reverberations of the cause, and right now you have the opportunity to act, or act in maybe a different way, or choose that I could go down that path and I could get mired in that, or I could choose something different.
Precisely. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any examples of maybe how that has shown up for you?
Well, yes, actually, another recent experience that I just had when I started my spiritual journey, I had an incredibly powerful experience with Archangel Michael. And I took from the situation that he came to me only because I had reached a certain level of work. And I realized that I had sort of ran with that theory. And this was about 6 years ago that I had this experience. And about a month ago, I was sitting in meditation and I realized, kind of like with a bonk on the head, I have not been asking for help. It was completely away from me to do that. And in my review of how that experience with Archangel Michael 6 years ago related to that, came to surface from when I was little. No, I can do it myself. I can do this myself. I am me. I can just handle this all myself. And so reconciling that to my little self, which surfaced in my spirituality through a gifted vision with Archangel Michael. And then just 2 months ago was like, wait a minute, I can ask you guys for help and do the work myself at the same time. And what a benefit that's been. So I created my own stumbling block when I decided with that energy. Yeah.
And that's a really good point when you talk about the energy. So, here at the Fierce Heart Alliance and the Harmonic Virtues, we talk about the vibration of emotions. And one of the quickest ways to start changing your karma for the better is to be kind. And so, my question for you is, what does kindness mean for you?
Once I learned how to be kind, it's just recognizing everybody is unique, everybody's different, and everyone is okay as they are. To me, that is kind. Polishing it up meant really working on myself, how to shine that out and own it. I don't think it's an easy thing to do, but it can be done, and it really starts with being kind to yourself. Once you know how to be kind to yourself, then you can recognize how to be kind to others, I feel. And it just starts with for me, just like a flat out acceptance of everyone as is. Sorry, I just felt like I needed to add that.
Perfect. That's wonderful. Yeah. And so, how do you show kindness to yourself?
So I honor everything about me. If I'm hungry and I'm with a group and I need to eat, I don't stay with a group. I get myself some food. If I need to do something for myself, I put myself first in all ways. And it's taken a lot. This is another thing I think that people have a hard time doing. Everybody really focuses on putting other people first. I had to recondition myself to everything from personal business to what I show outward had to be restructured to where I mattered first. And it's kind of fascinating. As I started putting myself first, I became timely. I wasn't late all the time. I'm slowed down. I'm not rushing everywhere I go. And nothing is a chore anymore. It's made a real big difference when you can sort of destructure yourself, your thinking back to your body matters, your mind matters, what you need to do matters, and nothing is so urgent that it can't wait for you.
Well, do you have any random acts of kindness that you like to do or that you have done?
Ooh, you know, as a spiritualist and a Reiki master and an energy healer, what I usually do is I just observe conversation when I'm out and about. And the other night I was at a casino and there was a couple of ladies there choosing to dish all of their medical problems. And I thought, okay, guides, I'm here for a reason. They're here talking very loudly and they've got my attention. Is there something I could do? And so I just open it up, I flare Reiki, and then I just say, thy will be done. And I do that often. I do that, for people on the street who are asking for assistance in various ways. And that's a way that I like to share. That for me is powerful because that is who I am. And that's how I like to be kind when I'm out, which I think was your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting back to the kindness for yourself and putting yourself first, do you feel that there are constructs in society that causes us to, or what do you think the root is about that? Because it feels to me that it's kind of something that women in particular, we're supposed to be selfless and, taking care of others before we can take care of us. Like, do you feel like that there's something there, or there's something to society, or what do you think that stems from?
You could say that it's society to women, but I think it's society to everybody. So what I have discovered is once you know your own authenticity and what makes you tick, what makes you the type of being you are, then you understand your flair of kindness. Not everybody has the same type of ways that they have empathy or compassion for what's around them. And I mean, I think it goes both ways for men and women. I don't think it's one particular. Men kind of get excluded from the caring and compassionate aspect. And so I really think that's both sides of the table. And it is society, it's religion, it's all kinds of things. And it's just whatever you're going to allow to supersede your own internal thoughts. So I don't think it's anyone specific. Anybody can be that to themselves.
Yeah, it's fair. That's true. I would totally agree. Do you have anything else that you want to share about kindness?
I do. I have a story that I'd like to share. I'm kind of
Oh,
telling on
please.
myself.
Yeah.
Several years ago, I had it in my mind that I could help other people every time I went out to eat. And I love to eat at Panera Bread drive-thru. So I'd go through the drive-thru and I'd get up there and I'd pay for the car behind me. And then at the end of the month, I'd call my dad and go, Dad, I'm a little short. Can you help me out? And he would always help me out when I needed it here and there. But I learned a really valuable lesson. I was following a random act of kindness sort of idea by going there and paying for the person's meal behind me before I was financially stable enough to be that. And that was actually one of the things that I learned about myself. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I should do me instead because, me giving in that regard isn't my best, number one. And it isn't actually something that I could financially easily do. So, making that was sort of a random act of kindness mishap. It was like a misguided gift. So making sure, again, that you're in alignment with what it is that you are doing, I think is also very, special to notice about yourself.
That it's like an authentic action.
Right, that you're just not maybe hopping on some sort of a bandwagon. Oh, it's random act of kindness day. Maybe I should go buy something or do something like the rest of maybe what I see in society in my neighborhood, whatever, however that looks to you.
Yeah.
And I did that. I did. And I recognized that it wasn't really, I wasn't in a position to do that at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your take on the kindness ripple effect? And it sounds like paying for someone else's meal was maybe a way for you to start your own ripple. Did you have any idea that maybe someone else would do that for someone else? Or like what was your take on all of that, of the kindness ripple or the ripple effect of
Great
kindness?
question. For me, it was always about making somebody else's day. And I don't think I really thought much beyond that. It just made me feel good. It's kind of an interesting question now that you asked me that. I'm wondering um, if it was so self-satisfying that I couldn't see through it, that it was also not, and I'm just thinking on the fly, not necessarily the best thing to do. But there's other ways. Another example is I went into this store one time and there was a young lady there, very pale skin, very, very pale hair, and she had on the brightest lipstick that was not her shade. But it was obvious that she chose it. She was wearing it with pride. And so I chose to say, your lipstick is lovely. And I didn't lie. I didn't say, oh, I love that on you. I didn't say anything like that. What I did is I pointed out, I recognized she had done it on purpose to make herself feel better. And I wanted to lift her up in that moment. And in that regard, I think that went miles as far as how the rest of her day may have gone.
Oh, absolutely. Being
Yeah.
seen.
Right, right. Being recognized for what it is she wanted to demonstrate that day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
It, it's interesting you speak about the kindness. You're doing it for how it makes you feel, but also trying to make someone else's day. The Random Acts of Kindness Foundation has done a lot of research. And one of the points that they say is that being kind is actually a two-way street. And there's reward for the giver and the receiver. And so the giver actually gets the reward centers light up in the brain just as if they were to receive as well. It's pretty interesting.
wow, I really felt those words that you just spoke to me. Lovely.
Yeah, there's kindness increases a lot of things for us, and they've done a lot of research about how there is actually a ripple effect, excuse me. So it can increase oxytocin, the love hormone, which can increase self-esteem and optimism in the face of anxiety. Participations Our participants in one study found that they felt stronger and more energetic after helping someone while also feeling more calm. People who volunteer have a 44% increase in lifespan and longevity with fewer aches and pains. And then it can also increase serotonin, which is the feel-good chemical that antidepressants stimulate. So it's pretty incredible. Being kind is good for your health, essentially.
Wow, that's incredible. That sounds like it.
And after reading all of that, when I found all of that out, going back to something that you said earlier, is that we also need to remember to be kind to ourselves. And that's where it really starts. And I think it's easier almost to be kind to people outside, to other people, rather than being considerate and being kind to ourselves. And I think a lot of people have this negative self-talk that they will just berate themselves, but they'll open a door for someone else. And I think it starts with us, and it starts at square one. We need to remember to be kind to ourselves, and then that will authentically ripple out to other people. That'll just be your being, just who you are.
Yeah, I agree.
Wonderful. Well, is there any other tidbits that you'd like to share?
I mean, if we want to tie that kindness to karma, I would
Sure.
say that they would go hand in hand. The more kind you are, the less negative experiences that you would have. If you're going to own the identity of kind, then that feels like it would really go hand in hand with letting go of things and not experiencing karmic situations.
That's beautiful. Well, that concludes our episode for today. Thank you so much, Brandy Roberts, for sharing all your wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you. Blessings to you. Have a beautiful day.
Well, that's our episode for this week. Feel free to leave any comments you might have about your experience with karma to keep the conversation going. Please like and subscribe. It helps this podcast more than you know. And you can always follow the Fierce Heart Alliance on Facebook and Instagram for weekly inspiration. Next week is our integration episode for the virtue of karma, where I go into deeper aspects of karma and I share channeling from my guides. Take care, Fierce Hearts. Till next time.